Hello, friends. It's your old pal, Uncle Phil. And yeah, coming back at you today. And here's the thing, I'm 2 days late on the daily office that I wanted to do. The Saturday, there was a bit that has, I think, become like the most important verse in the Bible to me, which is saying something because I like a lot of it. I mean, I find other parts of the Bible confounding, perplexing, troubling, nauseating at times. But this verse has become sort of very, 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 very important to me. And it came up on Saturday, and I was like, "Oh, I'll record Saturday." But my wife like threw her back out, or something. We don't know. Emergency room, like big deal. MRIs. Trying to figure it out. Another appointment today. So she was laid up. Had to call in sick to work. We don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like a herniated disc or something. It's bad. Point is she was around. There was lots to do. I was helping her, and so I didn't get to record. And I tell you, I wish I could have, because this weekend it was hot to trot on the lectionary, because Saturday had this verse that is like super mega important to me, and then it was also like they were passages. It's a whole section on Moses when he gets the burning bush and God tells him to go to Israel, and he's like, I don't want to go, and he makes all these excuses. And that's fantastic. That's a great story. Then Sunday's like the bit from the Gospels was Lazarus being raised from the dead, that's pretty stinking important. And a lot there. And I would have loved to have like done stuff all weekend, but again, had to take care of the wife. Not complaining, sickness or in health, you know, it's all good. I would do anything for that woman. She's my antidote to the world. I can't live without her. But I couldn't record. And so she has hobbled back to school today. And I'm kind of trying to set up this room. We have a visitor coming, so I'm trying to get things ready for a visitor. And so I was kind of setting things up, and I thought, I'm going to pull out the old equipment and make a recording. And I'm recording from Saturday. This is what I should have done on Saturday. Didn't do it. Don't care. This is the way life goes. It's messy and complicated. And this is the passage I want to talk about, because this verse. Okay, so we'll get to it. But what's crazy to me is that, given that I grew up in church, like from the day I was born, in utero, I was going to church. And the churches that I went to were churches that like taught you the Bible as often as they could. That was the deal, is they taught you the Bible as often as they could. And I mean, we were in the Bible Belt in the 70s. It was like we were at church hours in the morning on Sunday, then back for maybe an hour and a half on Sunday night, back on Wednesday night for a couple hours. And this was the rhythm most of my life. Most of the first 20 years of my life was multiple times a week, Sunday school, church, Bible studies, the whole bit. So I got a lot of Bible. And of course I went to seminary later, but I mean, I was taught a lot of Bible. And so, one of the things is when you're being taught so much Bible, you begin to notice motifs, and you begin to notice that they repeat things. Because I was at churches that did not follow like the Book of Common Prayer lectionary. They did not follow that. So basically the preacher could like, I want to do a series on, First John, whatever. They could do what they wanted to do. And because of that, this is the interesting part. Because of that, they could like really hone in on the parts they wanted to do and kind of avoid the parts they didn't want to do. Like not a lot of sermon series on Ezekiel, for example, which has the dirtiest verse in the entire Bible. It's filthy. It's horrendous. So I will not quote it right here, because I would feel a little dirty saying it. Like not a lot of Ezekiel, not a lot of like Leviticus. Like there's sections in Leviticus where it's like, you're not allowed to, basically all the people you're not allowed to have sex with, including animals. Like you shouldn't be cheating with your brothers, sisters, cousins, mother-in-law. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff in there that's, again, the preachers were like, if I don't have to, I'm not gonna. So, you would hear things, and of course, a lot of times what was happening is they were reinforcing their particular theological bent. That's how that works. It's not surprising. I mean, that's what we all do. But that's what makes this stand out, that somehow this verse just didn't ever really lodge in my brain until I was in seminary. In my, this is after college. This is grad school. So I'm 22, 3, 4. I don't know, somewhere in there. And I had never really processed that this verse even existed. Now, it's possible, I suppose, that the day the preacher preached on this, I was, home ill. Although I think that only happened about 10 times in 20 years. I was a faithful churchgoer, ladies and gentlemen. It's possible that it happened in my junior high years when I was sitting there in the pews, playing hangman on the bulletin with my buddy next to me instead of listening. But even then, I kind of heard and listened because I'm an auditory learner. So when someone's talking, I am kind of always listening and evaluating. And so the fact that this verse, which is from the Gospel of Mark, not from some obscure thing, somehow it just sort of tells me this must not have been one that the preacher wanted to concentrate on. And I can kind of see why, because it's a tricky one, sort of. It's kind of a tricky one. So anyhow, it's from Luke, or Luke. I just said Luke. Why? Because I love the Gospel of Luke, because it's fun. Mark chapter 9. It's verse 24 is the verse I'm going to really hone in on. But the point is, it's this healing, which is not surprising. There's lots of healings in the Gospels, right? But this father comes to Jesus with his son, he can't speak. It says he's mute. He has seizures, fits. He foams at the mouth. He throws himself on the ground and convulses. He sometimes throws himself into fires. He throws himself into water. It's this is life-threatening. It's a big deal. And the father comes to get some help from Jesus because his disciples can't solve it. So he comes straight to the source, and he comes to Jesus, and here's the thing. So here's the setup. He comes to Jesus and he says, I'm looking over at my screen because I've got it pulled up in giant print for Grandpa's old eyes here. He says, Jesus asks him, how long has this been going on? He says, from childhood. And he says, if you can do anything, this is what the Father is saying to Jesus. If you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. Okay? If you can do anything, take pity and help us. And Jesus responds kind of spicy. And he goes, if you can? If you can? Did you really just say, if you can? If you can help us. And this is important because this is what Jesus is going to get at with this guy. Jesus' next line is, all things are possible to him who believes. Now, I got to take a little side step here, because this particular set of words, all things are possible to him who believes, has been sorely abused through history, because people will drop that into people's brains completely out of context, and they will say, all things are possible to him who believes. And so the idea when you take it out of context is, well, if I believe hard enough, I can get whatever I want. Which is a really stinking dangerous thing to tell people, because it sets them up for massive, colossal disappointment, either disappointment in God or doubt in their own belief. Because he says, if you believe, all things are possible to him who believes. And I've literally heard people reference this kind of verse and say, I really believed that God could heal my sister from her leukemia, and he didn't. So that's why I don't believe in God anymore. I abandon God. That's not what this verse is talking about, because what was the setup? This is where the English teacher in me comes in. Look at the context, ladies and gentlemen. What was the setup? If you can, take pity and help us. And Jesus goes, if you can. And then he says, all things are possible to him who believes. What's he asking him about his belief in? Belief that his son can get well? Belief that, his own personal belief? Or is he asking him about his belief in what? In what Jesus can do, not in anything else. If you can, that's his question. His issue with the guy is that the guy has walked up and said, if you can, which is essentially expressing a doubt in the fact that Jesus is God and can do what he wants. And Jesus, by the way, isn't mad here, I don't think. I mean, he's like, oh, how dare you? You hurt my feelings. You're, this is not Jesus being petty and proud. You should recognize me for who I am. This is literally addressing for this guy the nature of his faith in Jesus. That's what it's asking. Do you think I really am who I say I am? Which, by the way, I've begun to feel like is the big question that you see. I mean, it's what Jesus asked the disciples when they were like, up on the mountain of transfiguration. And he's like, who do people say that I am? Well, who do you say that I am? Like, so much of this is about simply going, do I think Jesus is God or not? But anyhow, he looks at this guy because this guy has admitted in the way he phrased his question, if you can, will you do something? By saying, if you can, he's expressing a doubt in Jesus. And Jesus goes, if you can, do you believe I can? Basically, he's saying, do you believe I can or not? All things are possible to him who believes. Like, I can do anything. Do you actually believe I can? And the guy's response, this is the verse 24. This is amazing. The guy's response is, okay, immediately the boy's father cried out, okay? He cried out. Now, the Greek word here for cried out, I'm not going to say the word, but the Greek word here means not, like, this is an anguished sound. It could mean anything from shriek or scream to croak, to cry out. Like, this is a tormented cry that he gives. This is not, well, it's funny you should ask that question, Jesus. I'd love to address that with you. This is not a calm man. He is distraught. He is beside himself. Jesus says, if you can, all things are possible to him who believes. And the guy cries out and he says, I do believe. Help my unbelief. Now just stop right there. I do believe. Help my unbelief. Now, I think this is the reason preachers didn't like to do this verse, because see, English teachers like to do verses like this because we love things like this in the text that are tricky and complex and multi-layered. Preachers like to go straight for simple answers. Typically, here's the simple answer, and here's, by the way, how you should apply it this week to be a good boy or a good girl. This verse screws all that up. Because this guy looks and says, I believe, I also don't believe. I believe, I do believe, help my unbelief. So which is it? Do you have belief or do you have unbelief? And this is why this is so fantastic and absolutely just boggles my mind, because this is so absolutely true, isn't it? Like that tension. I believe, I also doubt at the same time. What do you want me to say? I think what's great about this is how incredibly, profoundly honest he's being with Jesus. I think Jesus really appreciates honesty from people. If you go read the Psalms, David, man after God's own heart, deeply flawed man, by the way. Deeply flawed man. And yet he pulls no punches. If something's on David's mind, he says it. He calls it out. He is like, my God, why have you forsaken me? Like he doesn't hide his feelings, where he's at with God. He just lets it all hang out. And I think, by the way, God's big enough to handle that. I think that ought to be the posture we adopt, is not brash as much as transparent, laid bare, naked. Just like, here it is. This guy goes, I do believe, I also don't believe. What do you want me to say here? And that tension, I love it because we live in tension, everybody. Life is tension. We exist in a tension state on so many levels. We are both spiritual and physical beings, right? We are eternal and temporal at the same time. We're going to die, but we're also going to live forever. We have the natural realm and the supernatural realm. We have, the time is like this. We're always thinking about the past and the future, and yet we live in a single moment, right? Like this is how we live. We live in tensions between things. And I think, again, preachers probably don't concentrate on this because we don't like tensions. We don't like, because tension doesn't sell. If you're a preacher, you're trying to keep people coming to your church. You want them to show up every Sunday, especially bring their checkbook and volunteer and do whatever you need them to do. That's what you need if you're a preacher. If you need them to show up, the number one thing you need is for them to keep coming. And so there's a salesmanship thing going on. And the problem is tension doesn't sell well. If you get up and you're like, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that the life of following Jesus is a life of intense tension. People are like, oh, well, then I think I'll just go be Buddhist. Like I'm done with this. And yet I love the honesty of it, because I think if at least if I'm honest with myself, I imagine if you're honest with yourself, tension is a major function of your life every day. I feel it all the time. I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I think we've probably established on this channel that I'm a weirdo, but I don't think I'm weird on this one. I think this one this one's pretty universal, that everybody feels tension, a lot of it. And this guy's just expressing it. Yeah, I believe. I also don't believe. Can you help me with that? You got an answer for that? And here's the thing. Jesus doesn't look at him and go, that's a weak answer, bro. Yeah, I was looking for something a little more committed. I was looking for something a little more certain. See, I feel, Brian, I am allergic to certainty these days. I can't take it. If you come in and you're just like, I got the answers, I'm like, well, I would like to keep my distance from you, because people with the answers scare me to death. They really do. Because the one thing I'm sure about at this point in my life is not have I got it right. It's how wrong have I gotten it? Like all the theology I've studied, all the church history, everything, nobody's got it just right. Nobody's got it just right. The question isn't, did we get it right? The question is, how wrong did I get it? How far off did I get it? But you see, this is, again, we serve a God of grace. And what I love is he doesn't look at this guy and go, no, I needed more certainty, or no, your answer was not good enough. Your answer was insufficient, or no, that's not real belief. If you have doubts, then I have no time for you. He heals the kid. He heals the kid. He's not put off by this guy. In fact, again, I would argue it probably appreciates the honesty. Probably appreciates the honesty. And he heals the kid. So I say this has become like the most important verse for me. And it has, because I wish I'd heard this. I don't know why I missed it. Again, I'm sure somebody did preach on it, and I don't know how I missed it. Maybe they just kind of blew past it. It wasn't treated as very important, or I don't know. But if I had heard this about 40 years ago, I'd be a different person, because I grew up in a world where certainty was the name of the game. We were right. We had studied the Bible more. We had learned the languages better. We had a better interpretation than everybody else, and ours was right and theirs was wrong. And being wrong means you're probably evil or going to hell, or both. And I never felt comfortable in that system. And if I had been told from an early age, it's okay to feel the tension. It's okay to have the doubt. Just keep plugging along. It's okay. God's not afraid of you having doubts. God's not worried about your doubts. It's okay. If I'd heard that, I would be a completely different person. A completely different person at this point. But whatever. I'll be a late bloomer. I'll take it. I'm making up for lost time, because you should know, if you're in the same boat, if you feel the tension, but you like hang out with people who are like, what? You have doubts? What's wrong with you? Hey man, then just look at this passage. Mark 9:24. Jesus doesn't have a problem with you having doubts. He doesn't have a problem with it. He really can deal with that. You just keep coming and you say, I do believe. I also need help with my unbelief. Please take pity. And it seems like God will do that. God will take care of it. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to always do the thing. Like here, he did the miracle. He healed the kid. But I mentioned Lazarus. Just in that story, the sisters were like, Jesus, we know you can come heal him. Come heal him. He's sick. He's really, really sick. Come heal him. Jesus didn't come heal him. He didn't do it. And they believed. Trust me, they believed he could. That's why they called him. The Mary and Martha, they knew about Jesus, and they were like, we know you can heal our brother. You can do it. And Jesus doesn't, on purpose, by the way, which may sound harsh and cold-blooded to us, he on purpose does not go to heal Lazarus. And it's because, and he says, I'm going to do something better. I'm going to bring him back from the dead. That wasn't what they asked for. Did they believe in him? Yes, they did. But you see, this is the thing. He shows up still. He can deal with our doubts. He can deal with our confidence. But the issue is we've got to trust him. That's the thing. But that trust will be imperfect. That trust will be flawed. That trust will be tested. That trust will have holes in it where water leaks out sometimes. It's okay. You're in good company. You're in good company. You at least have the dude, the father in Mark 9 and Uncle Phil with you. So, that makes 3 of us, I guess. Anyhow, wish I'd heard that one a long time ago, but it's become my heartbeat because it tells me it's okay to live in the tension, live in the doubt, and that's all right. That's all right. I'm trying. Okay. For the playlist today, this one's tricky because this one's sort of off menu because this song is not on Apple Music or Spotify. And I don't know why. The whole album, it's by a guy named Steve Taylor. And he had an album called Squint in like 1991. I don't know, something like that. 93. Anyhow, Steve Taylor, I don't want to bias it. 'Cause here's the thing. I always hated, like, I grew up in church and the thing was people were always like, you should listen to Christian music, Christian rock, don't listen to that devil music. And I was always like, the devil music they're better songwriters. First of all, I don't think it's all devil music. Second of all, they're better songs, better songwriters most of the time. Most of the time I was getting, maybe that was just the 80s and there was a lot of drivel out there. There was a lot of very derivative, copycat, horrible stuff. Ugh, it was a lot of, I always, there's very little Christian music I found palatable. I'm an elitist snob. What are you going to do? The point is, Steve Taylor was this exception because he was sort of the court jester, of Christian music, to the point that I think that's the reason this album is sort of unavailable. And he kind of had to leave the industry because he would not play by their rules. He wrote songs about things that made people uncomfortable sometimes. And he just was not mainstream in the way they wanted him to be. Again, we like certainty and confidence and happy. And he just didn't follow that rule. So anyhow, this song, I don't know why the album is completely absent from streaming services that I can find. So you can find it on YouTube. And then you'll have to also go look up the lyrics because I don't know, unless you got really finely tuned ears, I can't understand always, again, see also grandpa mode here. I can't always understand what's being said in the songs, but if you look at the lyrics, pull up the lyrics in one side of your screen and watch the video or just listen to it on the other. And in fact, the video is pretty dated. The video feels, the video's, yeah. It's a time capsule. Maybe you'll dig it. I don't know. But the song is called Sock Heaven. Okay, Sock Heaven by Steve Taylor, and it's great because it's this the sort of metaphor he's working with is how you always seem to lose a sock in your laundry. And you can't find it. You're like, how did I lose the socks? I put it in the load, and then the sock just disappears somewhere. Where'd the sock go? And we've all had that experience doing laundry. You're like, how did I end up with one sock? Where did the sock go? It's got to be somewhere. It didn't enter a wormhole. Like, where is the sock? Where could the sock be? There's a limited number of places, and yet somehow we still lost the sock. So he wrote this song, Sock Heaven, that's just fantastic. And the song even sounds like a dryer going through a tumble dry. The percussion, the sort of the beat of the thing is really good. Anyhow. And there's this lady singing in the background who just wails. Kind of reminds me of the lady on the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, where she's just wailing away. Similar kind of vibe on that. But anyhow, I won't read you the whole lyrics. You can go look them up. It's easily Googleable. But it's got a really good thing here. And it just basically, I think he's also realizing he's about to end his career in Christian music because they just can't understand him. And he says, didn't want a platform to build a new church, didn't want a mansion in rock heaven, didn't want more than to be understood. Maybe there's a place up in sock heaven. And he says the last verse is the best. We're gathered here to ask the Lord's blessing, maybe not his blessing, maybe we're not asking at all. Out of the box with every good intention. Did you fail to mention this time we were destined to crawl? And every day that we died just a little more, I was sure you were sovereignly watching us dangle. I don't get it now, but I'll get it when in sock heaven I see it all from your angle. It's this, again, living in tension. Sock heaven. I'm just waiting to be reunited with all the other lost socks. Anyhow, freaking love this song. It's so good. It is fantastic. Again, I'm so sorry that it's not available to readily stream, but I give it 2 thumbs up. You should check it out. Sock Heaven, Steve Taylor. I'm sure you can find it. You resourceful little kitty. Maybe I can put a link if I'm really thoughtful. I'll remember to put a link in my description. Probably won't because I'm just a bear of very little brain. But anyhow, just remember, everybody, it's okay to be a lost sock. It's okay to be in some tension. It's okay to have belief and doubt all mingled together at the same time. That's how this works. We exist between the sacred and the profane. We exist in all these different realms, and it's okay. It's okay. That's what God's grace is for. And the great thing is he loves you right in the middle of your doubt and uncertainty and tension. And it's okay because God loves you. He really does. He loves you. And Uncle Phil, I wish grace, peace, and love to everyone.